Welcome to another segment of POPA On Point. My name is Brian Moriguchi. I'm president of the Professional Peace Officers Association. Today we're going to talk about morale, and we're joined here by Sheriff Jim McDonnell. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Sheriff Jim McDonnell is the 32nd Sheriff of Los Angeles County. He was elected in December 2014. 1 year after his election, POPA conducted a morale survey of its members to gauge the morale within the LA County Sheriff's Department under Sheriff Jim McDonnell. I want to ask you a few questions, Sheriff.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about morale and the impact it has on the operation of the Sheriff's Department?
You know, morale is critical to the effective operation of any organization. The higher we can build morale, the better off we all are. People enjoy coming to work. They go home with a better attitude in dealing with their family. And just the pride that people have in the organization and in the mission and the profession that we all serve. Morale is critical. As we move forward, we do so within the LA County Sheriff's Department as a part of American policing. And certainly what we've seen over the last several years with the impacts on morale nationwide, it's been hit after hit after hit. So we operate as part of a bigger system, and so we will be impacted by what's happening on well beyond our jurisdiction. But that's something we have to continue to work at, acknowledge that there are issues, work on them together, and be the best we can be.
Do you believe that the treatment of the employees plays a critical role in morale?
Not only the treatment of our employees, but the perception of treatment. So it's critical that we be fair with everybody, that discipline be consistent, and that we look at positive discipline as well, which are commendations, acknowledging the good work being done each and every day out there as well.
In our morale survey, a lot of people commented about wanting to see change when you came in. Mm-hmm. Everyone's aware of the situation of the LA County Sheriff's Department prior to you coming in.
Right.
And you came in basically as a reformer to bring back the shine on the badge, I think is as you said it when you were running. The complaint that we got from a lot of our members was that they weren't seeing enough change. And it took a significant amount of time. It took you almost 2 years before you made some major changes in your personnel, your management team. So my question to you is, did you believe it was necessary to make changes when you first came in, and why did it take so long to make changes?
I can understand the perception. The change that we did make was gradual. Personnel changes occurred over a period of time. I would say in the first 2 years of my being sheriff, we've probably had, I'd say, 16 or more captains and above retire. That's a lot of turnover in a relatively short period of time. So there was change going on, but it was incremental. So from a personnel standpoint, so I don't know that it was as noticeable. Change overall, policy, procedure, trying to be the best we can be, trying to be able to resource our people so they can do the job as safely and as well as it can be done, has been something that has been ongoing. Again, we're dealing with some tough budget times. We're dealing with the national tone between relationships between police and community. There's a lot of moving parts to this. But my goal was to come in and be very clear, to set the tone, to set the bar high, to hold people accountable consistently across the department to extremely high standards. When you look at it, we are the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Police from across the nation and around the world look here to see how it's done. We are a best practice organization. That's a tremendous accomplishment, but it also comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility, that we have to do things as well as we can. We have to be the standard for the profession. Big responsibility, but what a tremendous opportunity. And I take my hat off to the men and women who do this job for this organization each and every day. I don't know that the job is more difficult anywhere else in the nation when you look at the diversity of responsibility that we deal with, and when you look at how few people we have doing the job. I often compare my former department, the LAPD, with the LA County Sheriff's Department from a personnel standpoint, and we have roughly the same number of sworn personnel. We police roughly the same number of people, 4 million people, with the same type of duties as LAPD does. They do it over 467 square miles. We do it over 4,083 square miles. Tremendous geographic difference. But then in addition, we take the same number of sworn personnel, add that with our professional staff, and we also do the jails, the courts, the community colleges, the hospitals, the parks, the MTA, search and rescue, and other duties. And when you look at how thinly our personnel are stretched, it's amazing the work we get done. And that goes to morale. It goes to the feeling of being part of something that is bigger than any of us. There is a tremendous amount of pride in the organization, built on a rich history and tradition of this organization, and I think that's what allows us to be able to get the job done the way we do it.
Let's talk about the shortage of personnel.
Right.
The Sheriff's Department provided a proposal on what their hiring plan was. I know you came to one of our delegates meeting, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
And afterwards, we talked about basically the information that was given to you about that plan. And that plan really only met the attrition rate of our employees, so we weren't gaining ground, so we still have the huge vacancy rate. What this vacancy, obviously it impacts morale, but what this vacancy does, it puts a huge strain on the employee. The excessive amounts of overtime, the forced overtime, the carping, which we'll get into further, it puts a huge stress on the family life as well and the health of the employees. We made a recommendation to you that you put together a committee to address this problem, this hiring problem, that would include POPA and ALADS in those discussions.
Right.
What do you think about that idea?
I think it's a great idea. You know, I don't know that any one of us has the answer to all of the issues we're dealing with, but I think by bringing a diverse set of perspectives together to the table to be able to come up with what's best for the organization itself, the people that we serve, the people who actually do the job every day, it's critical that everybody weighs in and we make it as good as it can be for everybody. So I would welcome the ability to be able to bring a group together that'll come up with solutions, not only to this issue, but to really everything we do.
Right. Sheriff, how many deputies did we hire in 2016, and what is the department's projection for 2017? We still have a concern that we are not doing enough. I know it's a difficult time to hire for all departments,
Right.
but we still believe that we may be understaffed or ill-equipped to meet the needs of the department.
Yeah, you know, it's a legitimate concern. You look at 2016, we graduated 636 deputy sheriffs. While that sounds like a lot, our attrition is a little bit over 400 on average each year. This coming year in 2017, we have 6 classes planned in the South Academy. We hope to graduate 540 there, and an additional 2 classes, North Academy, 170 there, for a total of 710. And so our projections are optimistic. We're hopeful to be able to realize those as we move forward. But you touched on it, that it is a very difficult time from a recruitment standpoint for our profession nationwide. We need the assistance of everybody who works on the department to be able to reach out to their friends, their relatives, their brothers and sisters, and encourage them. This is a great career. You know, apply for the job and hopefully be successful in being able to take a seat at the academy. The challenge we face is our standards are very high, and we don't want to apologize for that. Of 100 candidates who sign up to try and become deputy sheriffs, 4 make it to the academy, 3 make it through the academy. That's a 97% failure rate when you look at it that way. I don't know of another profession where the standards are maintained at that high level. And so the cost there is that we have a hard time putting people in academy seats. The benefit is that the people we feel very comfortable about, that they've been appropriately vetted, and they'd be somebody we'd want to work with.
We also want to keep a high standard, and I want to ask you about a common complaint that we get from our non-sworn members, particularly custody assistants and security officers. Many of them hired on. Every time we do a class with them and we ask them how many want to become deputy sheriffs, a large majority of them want to become deputy sheriffs.
Right.
When they're able to, they apply to become a deputy sheriff, but they're put into the same pool as the general public process. Mm-hmm. They've already gone through a pretty extensive background to become employees of the LA County Sheriff's Department. We've asked that they be expedited. We call it fast tracking them.
Right.
But these people have already proven themselves to be good employees. They've already had the majority of their background completed. We would like to see them fast track and into the Deputy Academy, where they can have a greater impact on the budget, overtime, all those other things. And then to hire on the back end of that, which would be easier to do, because their academic process is simpler. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I think we need to look at that much more closely, because I've heard the same complaints as I travel around the county that people want to become deputy sheriffs. They're already in the family, and that that step, it seems, for them is harder than it would be for someone coming in from the outside. That is at least the perception. So we need to address that, and if it's a perception, to be able to say why it is what it is, and if it's the reality, to be able to modify the system so we take advantage of people who are already part of the LASD family to be able to help them move into a position that they're looking to achieve.
I think our non-sworn would be glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
You recently appointed your permanent undersheriff. Why did it take so long?
You know, when I came in from outside the organization, my pledge was to learn this organization as well as I could, to learn about the people who do the job every day, to be able to put the right people in the right seats to be able to accomplish the mission that we have at hand. And so I gave a promise to everybody that everybody would start fairly, be able to show what they have, to show what their strengths are, and how best they can fit in the organization to be able to help us accomplish our goals. My goal was to be able to look, listen, and learn about the organization and the individuals within it. I did that, and I took 2 years to be able to really learn who would be the best fit in what position, and then made the determination on the team moving forward. My goal was to be able to do it well, to do it right, rather than doing it quickly. And I'm very satisfied with the announcements that we made as far as our new team moving forward. I think that puts us in a very good position, all hard-working individuals with a lot of credibility within the organization as well as within the profession. So moving ahead, I don't apologize for the time it took, because while I know that was a concern for many, my goal was to be able to put the best team possible in place given the needs that we face in 21st century policing. It is a big job, it is a complex job, and we have individuals, I believe, who will be moving the organization forward in a way that we'll all be very proud to work with.
Do you have any plans to make any significant changes in the near future? I know we had talked about bringing in a chief financial officer. Right. You know, we have a $3 billion budget, or over a $3 billion budget. Any plans?
Yeah, you know, when I came in, I wanted to be able to, look at the strength within the department. My goal was not to go outside the department if there was not a need to do that. And we've been able, as I mentioned, with the team we put in place, to stay within the organization. We have brought a few people, professional staff in from the outside, Jamaica Williams, Carol Lynn, to do special jobs that we didn't have people within the organization who were versed in it the way they're doing it. Very happy to be able to have them on board. And in moving forward, a chief financial officer is somebody we have not had. We want to be able to manage a $3.3 billion budget with somebody who has made their living, made their career in their profession from managing large organizations' financial interests. The goal there is, we've had good people doing that within the organization, but they grew up in the organization as deputy sheriffs. And no matter how sharp the individual is, that's not what you do for a living. So to be able to bring somebody in with the, as we say, a fresh set of eyes, to be able to look at the budget we have, look for opportunities to be able to take the money we have, and to be able to move it around in a way where we get more bang for the buck. To be able to see opportunities that somebody who doesn't come from that type of background may not have the ability to be able to see. And so I think there are opportunities moving forward. That national search that we're doing is underway. We've had a couple of candidates who looked promising, and it didn't work out for a number of different reasons. So we continue to press ahead. We have a very prestigious search firm helping us with this, and I hope to have somebody in place in the very near future on that front. So always looking for ways to be able to be the best in the field. Recently, we appointed a chief data officer, first of, I believe, of its kind in the nation, Wendy Harn, who does a great job for us. So as you look at the moves that we'll make going forward, we want to be able to look at the business that we have as a business, to be able to do as effectively and as efficiently as we can. And again, using the right people, putting the right people in the right seats to be able to accomplish the mission. And after 2 years, I've learned that we have some great people within this organization. They weren't always in the right seats, so to be able to use the strength we have and everybody working together, I think everybody will be very proud of the move ahead.
Out of respect for your time, we are going to break this up into 2 to 3 segments. So I want to thank Sheriff Jim McDonnell for joining us
Thank you,
and
Brian.
taking time out of your busy schedule. We greatly
pleasure.
appreciate that. And we look forward to working with you to resolve some of the issues within the Sheriff's Department.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.